Hey guys, yeah, surprise, surprise, look at the title. We are going to be reviewing overview the Metal Virus arc. Now I know I've come on here a lot and I've kind of crapped on it, and I'm not going to deny that yes, I along with many other people have had their opinions on it, but after reading through it, I have to say that it was all right. I mean, I can see where, Ian Flynn was trying to go with, trying to basically go with when it came to this arc. Now, is it perfect or anything? No, it's not. Especially when you kind of see that a lot of the issues are at times rinse and repeat of what we've seen before. Now, I will give them credit. I will give them credit that they don't always rinse and repeat issue after issue when it comes to major characters. They usually wait once in a while, like every few issues, to do that. As a matter of fact, the last major character that got infected before the finale, on screen, visually, you could see it happening to her, is Tangle. And what's funny and what's crazy about this is when Tangle gets infected, all of a sudden she grows spikes out of her tail. And as far as we know, when she's normal, she never had the ability to do that. So obviously, being infected created some kind of enhancement. Like here, have a robotic part as as part of it. So yeah. But anyway, like I said, I was able to catch up with most of the story. And as far as the other issues go, I was able to read them courtesy of YouTube. YouTube, of course, has people on there that upload the issues sometimes for people to watch/read at their own pace. Sometimes they run for about 8 to 10 minutes, sometimes 12, 15, 20 minutes. 20 minutes being the longest. But basically, read them at your own pace, if you will. And they kind of do panel by panel. Sometimes they do them in comic drama form. Sometimes they add a little music. And sometimes it's just no sound, no audio. You just read it plainly, panel by panel. But I want to, first of all, give a shout out to Frank Hill. He sent me basically 6 of these so far. These are the last 3 that he sent me that contain most of the Metal Virus arc in there. And like I said, it's pretty cool. Like I said, it's pretty cool and everything. And again, I could see, where they were trying to go, where they were trying to, go with this story, and everything. From what I understand, anyway, and these are, like I said, these are the trade paperbacks that have them, have most of the story. From what I understand, and I did a video about this recently. Basically, the Metal Virus saga was originally meant, believe it or not, this is the truth, originally meant for Archie Sonic. Now, we have no idea when it would have happened. There's some rumors going around that it would have happened in the pre-SGW portion of the comic, which is pre-Sonic Genesis Wave reboot. And there's some rumors going around that it would have happened in the post-SGW reboot, which is the post-Sonic Genesis Wave portion of the book. And there is evidence that shows that this would have happened, sometime in the near future, whether it would have, had its foundation, whether or not the foundation for it would have taken place in one of the Sonic Universe Freedom Fighter stories, because they were doing the Freedom Fighters arc at that time, where each issue of Sonic Universe was going to be an individual story for the Freedom Fighters, teamed up with one of them teamed up with a main Sonic Sega character. So we don't know if that would have happened there. We don't know if it would have happened in the main book. It's hard to say. But yeah, basically we kind of get an idea of exactly the direction it would have gone in, even if it would have been in the Archie book. Now, again, like I said, I will give them credit that they didn't rinse and repeat by having a lot of major Sonic Sega characters get infected, is back to back to back to back when it came to the issues. They kind of waited on it. I mean, the first major character that gets infected is, I believe, is Vanilla. It's not just Sonic that gets infected. Not just Sonic, but it's also Vanilla. Vanilla is the one that gets fully infected. And then later on we get, Charmy getting infected. We get the Chaotix getting infected. Well, most of them except for SBO getting infected. So, like I said, I'll give them the credit that they didn't basically rinse and repeat, as far as, major Sonic characters go when it comes to the book. I will give them that. There's no doubt about that. As far as Dr. Sterline goes, I think this is I believe, let me double check, because I know I read through this, just to double check here. I think this is the first major arc in which he's involved in. Yes, the first major arc he's involved in. He does get himself involved towards the end of the first major arc in which, in which the IDW version of the Sonic Comics was established. He does get himself introduced and involved towards the end of that. But this here, the Metal Virus, is the first major one, as far as I know, that he's been involved in. And to say that he wants to prove himself to Eggman is an understatement, because, he does everything he can to impress him. He tries to basically, from what I can remember, from what I can tell, he tries to help him mass distribute the virus liquid, goo, if you will, as much as they can. He tries to help him get control of the Zombots, get the Zombots under his control, under Eggman's control. But it's towards the end that he starts, but as well, not towards the end, but it's actually towards, the middle portion of the story that he starts noticing that maybe Eggman's not everything he's cracked up to be, if you know what I mean. And he starts kind of, he starts kind of, rethinking, is this guy, the best, influence for me to, influencer I should have to look up to, or best, inspiration I should look up to be, on that same level, to be that kind of an individual. So he starts rethinking about that, and it isn't until the end that basically he starts really seeing what Eggman's really about. Like, even Sterline, I think, is wondering, why doesn't Eggman just, stop gloating about stuff and just, do the job, finish off his nemesis, or come up with a strategic backup plan in case something fails. So you start noticing a lot of cracks in the relationship between the two, and it culminates with basically Eggman stabbing, Sterline in the back and warping him, out of sight or something like that. And Sterline, I should say, obviously feels betrayed, but still wants to prove himself to Eggman. Like, hey, I still want to be, I still want to work with you. I still want to, learn from you. But in return, perhaps you can learn from me. And what he does is he brings in the Zete, the Deadly Six, which at first is a good idea, but then it backfires on him because the Zete obviously know from experience, what Eggman is capable of when it comes to having any kind of power or control over them. So they're obviously one step ahead. And they end up becoming the main final boss in the entire situation. And Eggman, in turn, has to help Sonic and his friends, those that have not yet been infected, kind of, turn things around and get things back to normal. In other words, kind of fix, Eggman, towards the end of the story, has to basically be like, man, I went through all this to conquer the world and get at Sonic, and now I have to basically fix everything I broke. So yeah, he basically has to do what he doesn't want to do in the first place, and that's save the world. Now, does he try to save his own bacon at the end? Absolutely. Does he try to come up with a solution, towards the end to see maybe if he could take advantage of this? Absolutely. But again, this being Eggman and his track record with Sonic, as we all know, is not that good, especially when it comes to epic climaxes of any sort. So basically, in the end, Sonic does end up gaining superpower along with Silver, because Silver does play an integral part in this as well. In fact, he plays a huge part in this, because he's able to kind of gain control of the nana, not the nana, but he's able to kind of cause a disruption. He's able to use the powers that he has to help out in the long run, and basically together both go super. Basically, in the end, both go super, and they end up by going super, end up basically disposing of the virus, basically curing everybody of the virus infection. And by doing so, everybody that was upset that those close to them got infected, embraced, they hugged, they were happy to see them safe and sound, back to normal. But there were some moments throughout that really was like, when you look at the characters infected, you kind of ask yourself, man, did Sega really allow them to do this? Because it really makes you think. It really makes you think that, Sega had, some kind of control, some kind of say when Sonic was under the Archie license. And, they would be okay, and they would either give a thumbs up or a thumbs down on any kind of direction or idea the writers wanted to go in, especially with the main characters. But it's like here, you have the Chaotix, you have Vanilla, you have Shadow, you have Knuckles for a brief period. You even have Sonic slowly but surely being infected. And it's like, and even the newer characters like Tangle, and you wonder to yourself, how were they able to get away with this? Did Sega step in and say something? What was going on? So anyway, though, like I said, Silver and Sonic are able to free everybody. They're able to stop the Zete. They're able to basically stop Eggman and all that. Basically put an end to his plans, as well as cause Sterling and Eggman separately to go into retreat. They're able to scatter the Zete across the globe, if you will. Because the way they get to the Zete is they basically also come up with this plan. I think it's Amy and Knuckles that both come up with a plan to basically attack the Zete individually, go after each Zete in a group of two, in a team of 2 or 3, to get the Chaos Emerald away from them so that Sonic and Silver can go super and do their job. So I thought that was a great thing for them to do. And obviously you could tell that if this was originally meant for the Archie books, that the separation of the team, of the resistance, as they're called, going and facing each Zete individually, you could tell that if this was originally meant for the Archie books, that would have been the Freedom Fighters in that position. That would have been Sally and Bunny and Nicole and Rotor and Tails and Antoine and all that. You could tell that would have been them going into those kind of missions, facing off against the Zete. Now, overall, I'll give it credit. It, like I said, from a rinse and repeat standpoint, it didn't do that constantly with the major characters. Did it do it constantly, like with the background, minor characters and all that? Yes, it did. But everybody else, the major ones like the Chaotix, Vanilla, Tangle, Shadow, no, they didn't. They didn't do that. So I'll give Ian Flynn credit there. I will give him credit there. But I will say that, you would think, okay, Sonic and Silver going super, they've stopped the virus, they've cleansed everybody, cured everybody. You think that would be the end of it, right? Nope. We have 2 more issues to go. And basically the 2 issues deal with Sonic landing in Blaze's world with amnesia because of the effect of the Topaz Jewel or Emerald. which was which was one of the main causes of the whole situation. And Blaze notices this, and notices this, and basically Blaze uses the Soul Emeralds to restore Sonic's memory, because Sonic doesn't know who he is. He's thinking of himself as Mr. Needle Nose, which is a nice callback to one of the names given to him at when he was first started up back in the early 90s. So he calls himself Mr. Needle Nose. Blaze tells him about who he is, and he thinks, oh, this Sonic guy is a cool guy. And again, so what happens is Blaze comes up with a solution that maybe the Soul Emeralds can help restore his memory, and it does. Now, during these two issues, everybody in the first issue is trying to get ready to celebrate and party, thinking everything is cool and fine, not knowing that Eggman has a surprise on his hand, and that surprise is using what's left of Omega to basically power up this new the mecha bot that he controls to sneak attack them. Now, unfortunately, Eggman, even though he seems to have the upper hand, he is counting on the fact that Sonic's going to come back and interfere with his plans. So his idea is, hey, I got to take his friends out as quickly as I can before he shows back up and screws me over. So, he comes up with a plan to use Omega's head as sort of like a powering device. Not knowing, though, that Omega's got some codes locked into him that when somebody yells it out, they activate. And that kind of helps disrupt his plans just in time for Sonic to arrive and kind of finish him off. Or basically finish him off and cause Eggman to go back into retreat. Now, here's the thing. I'm not saying that the characters don't hold their own for a bit before Eggman starts to get the upper hand, even while Omega is getting these commands to override him or to take control again. I'm not saying that they don't get some shots in. They do. Amy gets some shots in. Tails does. The Chaotix, Knuckles, Shadow. I think Shadow's there. Rouge. They all get the shots in and all that. And again, just when it looks like Eggman's regaining the upper hand, even with Omega trying to take control again or trying to override the control, it's enough time has gone by to where not only on Blaze's end is she able to, restore Sonic's mind, his memories with the Soul Emeralds, but enough time has passed to where Sonic, is able to travel back to his world thanks to Blaze and the Soul Emeralds, and able to take Eggman down. So it causes Eggman to go into retreat. And basically everybody is happy that Sonic's back. He's gotten his memory back. And they kind of resume partying a little bit after that. And that's where the story ends, with Sonic then racing off to the next adventure, or to at least keep Eggman basically off his friend's back. Because as long as he's running around, across the planet and everything, Eggman's priorities from Sonic's mindset will be on him and not, his friends, trying to get everything back to normal and restored, and every citizen back on their feet, and probably, counseling and being there for those that are kind of going to probably need some mental therapy after what they've been through. So overall, the Metal Virus arc, again, got to thank Frank Hill for sending me 3 of the trade paperbacks that have most of the arc in it. For me to catch up on. I have to say that it's pretty good. It's pretty good for what it is. I mean, it's not great. I'll put it that way. I mean, yes, I know, like I said earlier, I've crapped on it and everything. And, I stick by with what I've said before. I'm not going to deny that. But overall, I think it's all right. I think it's pretty good. Again, I could see what they were going for and everything. And I will give him credit. I will give him credit that despite the one major flaw that this story arc has is the same major flaw that this story arc had, beginning with this issue here, 253, and ending with that issue there, 287, overall had. and that's the length. That's the longevity of the story, not knowing when to cut back and basically reduce the length of a story, because not everybody's going to want to stay on board with a story for that many issues. And that's kind of what the Metal Virus felt like to a lot of people. I mean, Matt, aka Mega Beatman, of Mega Beatman's True Blue Reviews, even when he got to the final portions, the final issues of this arc, you could tell in his voice right at the beginning that he was just exhausted. Like he just has his head up to here. He's had enough of this arc, and he was happy that it was finally ending. So if there's one major detriment to the arc, it's the longevity of it and the fact that it should have ended a lot sooner than it did. I mean, when you look at these graphic novels, these trade paperbacks, they contain 4 issues each. So you're looking at 4, 8, and 12, and then the next one's going to contain another 4. You're looking at 16 months, a year and 4 months worth of story, and that's not needed. You could have just done it within the span of 4 to 5 issues, or 4 to 6 issues, and that's it. That's all you had to do. But besides that being a detriment, I could say they did all right. It wasn't the best issue. Again, plus is they didn't repetitively repeat the major Sega characters getting infected, so I will give them that. So overall, I'll give you this, it is worth the read, but if I was you, I would get the trade paperbacks, and I would take my time with it like I did. I would take my time, read it, and by doing so, in the end, you'll appreciate, maybe a little bit more of what they were trying to do. Now, again, as far as the other parts go, look on YouTube. Obviously people will have, those other issues on there as well, either with some audio drama, people doing voiceovers, comic dubs, if you will, audio dubs, or just with music or with no audio. You can find them, or you can even find them online through like torrents if you want to do that, or if you want to spend the extra, $280 something or $250 something for an issue, that's up to you. But overall, I thought it was okay. I thought it was all right, pretty good in some areas. So I'm not going to, crap on it as much as I used to, because again, I have a better appreciation of what they were trying to do. But if I'm Ian Flynn and if I'm Evan Stanley, because I know Evan is currently the head writer right now, where Ian Flynn is off doing other things. If I'm Evan, I would not go down the route Ian did here. And obviously right now, recently, we could see that Evan is not doing that. Her first story arc that she's written is 4 issues, and that's all it needs to be. And obviously from what people have said, and like Mega Beatman has said in his reviews, you can check them out. Basically, 4 issues obviously is enough to get a lot done. Is there times that it seems a little rushed and it could use another issue or so to, spread things out? Absolutely. But besides that, 4 issues is indeed enough, to get most of the context that you want in there. So overall, again, it was okay. It was pretty good at times. It was all right. If there is one other negative thing, though, I could say, besides the longevity being one of its detriments, and I said this before when I talked about the Worlds Collide, the first Sonic Mega Man crossover, when both titles were licensed to Archie Comics for comic book distribution, comic book releasing, if you will. If there's one thing they could have done that I felt they failed on potentially doing, because they had the potential to do this, especially when you have the Zeta in control towards the end. What they could have done, and again, I mentioned this when I talked about Worlds Collide, they could have easily written in the Zeta controlling the Zombots, because that's what they were able to do, because now they're kind of like, half machine, even though that machine part is just goo that's controlling them. What they could have done is they could have had the Zombots, they could have had the Zeta, I should say, command the Zombots, because they're covered in this metal goo that's turned them into half robot, into hybrid robots, or half robotic, if you will. they could have easily, just by the fact that it's goo that's covering these people or infecting them, the Zete could have easily, and this could have been written in, easily ordered all the Zombots to, come together and merge. Basically have the goo that's that's covering them already to envelop them even more, cover them completely, and merge together to become one big Zombot monstrosity. And that, to me, if you want to make things a lot darker and a lot more dramatic, and you really want to take it to that level, that next level when it comes to that kind of stuff, and really, put into question what the heroes have to do to save their friends if they can, go in that direction. Have the Zete, the Deadly Six, live up to their name. Have them mentally send out the orders to the infected Mobians, as they're known, and basically have the goo that's already covered those characters, turning them into Zombots. Have the mental control over them to have the goo spread even further up, and basically cause that character to be completely covered, and then be ordered to merge, and thus, by being completely covered, have the Zete Deadly Six order them to merge together into one big Zombot monstrosity, which again heightens the drama and the darkness of the story that Ian Flynn was going for to another level. Because now you have Sonic and Silver and even the rest of the Resistance that hasn't been affected now questioning how do they save their friends now that the Zete have basically caused them to merge or be totally engulfed by the goo that's already infected them and caused them to merge into this monstrosity. And I think, again, that would have made things a little bit more interesting. Just like I felt that when they went with the roboticized Masters deal in Worlds Collide in the first Sonic Mega Man crossover, if they would have had Wily and Robotnik add in an extra feature during the robotization process of the main Sega characters, or the main Sega Sonic characters, and that added feature was to have them merge together into this one big roboticized master, adding more to the drama and tension going on at that time, even to the point that I believe you could have had someone like Mega Man say, there's no way we could save your friends now, we got to destroy them because now they've merged together, or something like that. It would have made things a lot better. It would have made things a lot better for that crossover, and if not more intriguing. But they didn't do that. And again, to me, that was a lost opportunity. Like I feel a similar opportunity was lost here. But besides that being a detriment of something that was potentially possible, but they didn't take, an opportunity on, and the same with the length of the story. Again, overall, I thought it was okay, and I thought it was, like, I know I'm repeating myself here, but I thought it was pretty good in some areas. So that's about it, guys. That's all I'm going to say on my overview/review of the IDW Sonic Metal Virus arc. Again, a majority of it I read through the trade paperbacks, thanks to Frank Hill who sent them to me. I would recommend, again, if you want to read on it, get those trade paperbacks, take your time, and as you take your time and you read and you finish up on it, you will have more of an appreciation of exactly why some people felt this was good. The only negativity is the length. So that's all I'm going to say. And again, if you want to check out the other issues, you could either get them digitally online through Comixology or IDW, or you could find them uploaded on places like YouTube, either with music, audio comic dubs, or just no sound, no audio whatsoever, and just the panels and the pages themselves for you to enjoy. But that's about it, guys. So thank you all for watching. Big thanks to Frank Hill for sending me these. And that's all I'm going to say, guys. So till next time, God bless. Take care. I'm out. Stay safe.